The first prototype that I built of a Siri-like system was in 1993. This is before there was a web browser, or I had ever seen a web browser. And we're going to learn about the internet, perhaps, and Ethernet from our next speaker. But before I ever saw a web browser, I imagined there would be a world with many computers, internetworked, with services working on them everywhere. And to interact with these services, you would talk to them. And they would understand you and work together to achieve tasks on your behalf. And I had a tablet PC, much like the iPad, with this user interface on it. You could talk to it. You could use handwriting recognition. And really, most of the functionality that came out many years later on the iPhone was present in this 1993 system. So what's all of this story? Lesson 1, ideas can take time to develop. So pick something. When you start to work on a little project, you might end up working on it longer than you expect. So pick something you're passionate about, you believe in, you want to follow. So 18 years from first prototype to the iPhone release. And if you count my new company, Viv, which you can ask about perhaps in the question and answers period, instead of that 2.5 months acquisition with the 2.5 years commercialization, I can now say I've been working for about 2.5 decades in a continuous axis along something I really believe in. Thank you. Thank you. So lesson 2 is, well, why'd you wait so long to start Siri? If you had all this work and these versions, couldn't you have just saved a lot of time and done it much earlier? And the truth is, if we had launched Siri as a company any time earlier, it would have failed. And so as you have your interests and your goals and your areas of exploration, be watching the world and look for triggers and trends that tell you when is the time to now take it from a hobby to really focusing on this, and it's time to take it to the world. So for us, the trigger was the iPhone itself. When the iPhone came out in 2007, we said, Apple has just flipped the game. Every handset manufacturer, telco, et cetera, they're in trouble. And 2 years from now, they're going to be scrambling to try to compete with the iPhone. But the screens are small, the bandwidth is slow, it's still hard to type. And so this Siri idea is really the perfect thing to kind of one-up the iPhone. And of course, the irony is that Apple and Steve were the ones to buy Siri. But we could know when the iPhone came out, it was so disruptive, you could predict the future 2 years from now, which is how long it would take to actually build it in a real version you could launch and sell. So look for the triggers as you go. So number 3. All right, so now you've got your goals. You're going to be working on them. You're going to pick something you care about, and that's important to you. You're going to watch for those trends and triggers. But pick goals that are hard and important, because they take the same amount of time to work on something really important with all your life and passion and heart and intelligence as it is to work on something fun and throwaway, but not as important. So fun is good, but when you have that chance, think about what's the potential impact of what I'm working on? How much will it change the world?